doing the slides? Yes. So we are here in the Applicant City Workshop. And the house rule number 1, please close your micro. And then this meeting will be recorded. You will have access to the recording on our website, maybe in a week's time. But you will also get the slides right away. So you don't need to take a lot of notes. We have a lot of information for you today, so I try to keep it short. I was supposed now to introduce Veronica Manfredi.
I'm here since several minutes, dear Bettina.
Wonderful, wonderful. I don't see you. There's a lot of... So my director, European Commission, zero pollution, and of course, green cities, director in the DG Environment, Directorate General of the Environment of the European Commission, is giving us a short introduction. So over to you, Veronica.
Thanks, Bettina, and indeed a very warm welcome from my side to all the participants. I'm told by the organizers that we will have the pleasure and honor to have with us this morning over 70 cities from 22 countries, and I'm so glad to see that there is such an interest to dive deep into the technicalities and in particular the opportunities that the new cycle of application for cities interested in the green transition will offer. It's really a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Veronica, you're muted.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
Do I have to restart from the beginning, or there was a problem just for a part of it?
No, we have heard you, Veronica. Thank you very much. You can move on.
Thank you so much. So I was saying that this shows really how much there is, shows the importance that each of your cities is placing on the twin transition. I always underline that it's a twin transition because for me, the green transformation inevitably needs a lot of digital tools in assistance. And I count on each of you also to embrace that part of the transformation that is needed. As you know, in the last year's environment implementation review, our DG, based on studies that have been done by very important economists, has come to the conclusion and the estimation that the cost of inaction in addressing environmental issues across the European Union amounts to around 180 billion per year. 180 billion per year. This is around 1% of the entire European Union's GDP. So it means action that you take to address those actions really has an important also, of course, economic and, as we know, social benefits. What are the costs behind these figures is annual cost of non-compliance with EU environmental laws, be it for air and water pollution, nature degradation, waste management inefficiencies. So there are really very good reasons to go the extra mile for sustainability. It simply makes sense to transform our cities into those cradle of the new model of economy that we need for the entire European Union in times, as we know, of geopolitical tensions. And the awards give indeed visibility to the front runners because you will be able to increasingly connect with other like-minded cities. I see a lot of people coming in as we speak, which is great. Voila. Good. I see that now the audience is a bit more stable. Now, dear interested cities, award winners receive the title also because they're willing to include their citizens in the transformation. The best examples we've witnessed so far are those of cities that really managed to mobilize the population, inspiring, encouraging others to do the same. Once you do that in a systemic manner, you can reap much better results because people are informed and behavioral changes that take place at the level of individual citizens are easier somehow also to manage. Winners dedicate generally a whole year to run Europe-wide events that benefits their own citizens and, as I said, increase their own visibility. And they are particularly rewarded whenever they come up with really inspiring yet very concrete initiatives. In your applications, we also would like to see your long-term vision. Let's face it, as you know very well, all the strategies of the European Union in terms of, enhancing water resilience, driving towards zero pollution, restoring biodiversity, tend to have a 2050 scenarios, but as we know, there is a lot to be done in the way, and even the underpinning legislative proposals or come with milestones. So we need you to show
May we
to
please
show
ask, sorry,
yes, please,
just asking
please.
for the microphone from our audience to be turned off. Thank you very much. We can't hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. So to show understanding of the EU picture in which you move. As you know, all in all, I'm happy to say we are really staying the course on delivering on the strategies that we largely adopted under the past European Green Deal mandate. We have been also very busy on achieving more sustainability legislation and policy proposals that directly impact cities. I have in mind here, amongst other, the Nature Restoration Regulation, which aims to enshrine into law the ambition of the 2030 towards 2050 biodiversity strategy. As you know, that regulation includes a legally binding target for EU member states to keep and then increase the tree canopy, the tree cover, including in cities, so directly impacting your realities on the ground. We have also stronger rules to reduce pollution thanks to the recent revisions of the ambient air quality directives, the urban is even in the title, wastewater treatment directive, as well as the list of controlled surface and groundwater pollutants. Also, the recently adopted EU soil monitoring law, entered into force last 16th of December, require member states to monitor and assess soil health across all areas, including urban areas, aiming for healthy soils by 2050. And finally, allow me also to draw your attention to the EU agenda for cities, which the College of Commissioners adopted last December the 3rd, which promises further help to cities via the better involvement in EU decision-making process, and announces the setting up of a dedicated EU cities web portal with a view to offer a single entry point on funding opportunities and urban development activities. We have heard on many occasions how important it is for mayors that don't have a lot of time, limited human resources, to have, an easier access to the menu that admittedly the European Commission in its different services have developed over time to come in support of their efforts, say, for sustainable mobility, indeed the management of key pressing environmental challenges, climate neutrality, and so on. So we really hope that the creation of this unified web portal will come as a very handy instrument to all of you. A few of you, participants to today's meeting, have already signed off the Green City Accord, whereby mayors commit to improving the environment by reporting a set of data to us. It really helps you, first of all, to plan and implement measures and also to trace the progress that you make and report back to citizens. I think it's a very important agenda also for reliability among constituencies. But also, let me tell you that these data streams are extremely important because they flow into our constant, as you know, bi-yearly reporting on zero pollution, monitoring and outlook, where increasingly we underline the urban dimension of the progress made. We have published actually already a couple of years ago for the first time what we call a zero pollution dashboard that allows citizens of the EU to dive into what's happening at cities level, and we've started precisely with the green capitals that are embracing the transition. So you would also have a visibility from that perspective. Commissioner Roswell has already clarified that she intends to hold every 2 years, and this year is the first one in a row, a zero pollution forum. You can expect that the urban dimension will be part of that visibility effort as well. So I want now, in conclusion, to thank in particular those who will contribute to the workshop today, and I'm sure they will make a success out of it. First of all, our waste and circular economy expert, Mrs. Katia Lassaridi, that will give us some insight into assessment aspect. A special thank to representatives of our Green Capital 2027, Heilbronn. I understand we have the colleague Mrs. Luisa Schmidt from Germany to help us also understand how Heilbronn has learned and is planning to deliver outputs in its role as green capital. And then for the green leaf, we have with us Assen, and Mr. Paulo Bakker from the Netherlands, from Assen, is also going to give us some experiences and some insight. I also want to thank our secretariat, in particular Mr. Wouter Schick and Aude Del Sal, for giving information about the process. And finally, but in no way least, my own team, in particular Bettina Schmidt-Mogenzar, that you've just met, and the entire colleagues behind her that are really leading this urban agenda with so much passion and motivation for the environment. Wishing you a fantastic workshop. Please stay very attentive, focused. This is your unique opportunity to be the next winner. And I'm looking forward to that. Thank you again, colleagues.
Thank you, Veronica. Great, and great input, great introduction. And now we'll dive into the next slide immediately. I don't know who is turning the slides for me. Yeah, that is the agenda. Just have a quick look, but Veronica already introduced that. Next slide. Yes. So here we are, and I want you to understand a little bit because it's a bit complicated. We are the committee. I represent here the European Commission, the Director General for the Environment, who is the initiator and the chaperone of this award. And then in the DG Environment, so Director General, DG Environment, we have an urban team, including me, and then there's 3 other persons in the urban team. But here me, Bettina Schmidt-Mogensen, I am the award manager, so to speak, from the DG Environment perspective. And then we work with the Secretariat, that is a consortium of 3 companies. And we have here Rambol, where Damiano, also here today, is the organizer of the network and Green City Accord Management. Then we have Aude, who will speak in a moment. She is the lead on the Secretariat, all general questions and all communication questions. We have several social media channels and so forth, a website and everything. And then there is from Arcadis the expert who assess your applications, who has all the expertise about the environmental indicators and who works with our independent experts, and that is Wouter Schick, and he will be also telling you all about. So next slide, and then I hope, yes. So why should you apply? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Not only you get a financial award, 600,000 for the Green Capital and 200,000 for the Green Leaf. And we have 2 Green Leaf winners per year. But also, even if you don't win, you will have a self-awareness process, because filling in that application form is quite, it takes a lot of data, and the data from different parts of your city organization, administration. And by that, you also maybe break some silos. I don't know. I hope so. And you also receive feedback from us. How did it go? Even don't think, oh, I'm not good enough or whatever. It's important to tell you we have the information. We will look at your city and we help you, and you will also always be then with us. Even if you don't win, and even if you are a finalist, you will join a network. And a network where we meet regularly. We have study visits. We organize online workshops. We meet at least twice a year in person. And the city that is winning at that year is hosting. So, and you will get to know a lot of people. And when you have environmental projects, for example, you will have a community where you pick up the phone and you say, oh, I don't know, I need 3 other cities from other countries to join a call for projects. And be sure you will get feedback and maybe people joining, because that's what we experience from our past winners. They say they have more visibility. They have a bit pride also from their citizens, better attractive on the tourist map, a lot of many more positive things to say. So I would say, yeah, try it out. And even if you're not ready yet, try to start with filling in that application form. So next slide. Now take over to Aude Del Sal, the lead of our secretariat, and she will already introduce you about what this application is all about and how to do it and everything. So thank you from my side so far.
Thank you very much, Bettina. Veronica, everything has left, but for all, it's a great honor and advantage to have the DG Environment on board to a high level, and I think for all of you participants. So we are extremely glad from the organization side to have almost all of our registered participants being here today. I mean, we are over 80 people, and it's great. As said before, we are there from all over Europe, 22 countries, so almost fully on board, and it's already a great accomplishment for those awards and for green cities. 70 cities are on board right now. So as a reminder, we are going to give you a lot of information today. I'm going to try not to talk too fast so you understand, but to be quick, because we are all on board from Secretariat, as Bettina mentioned. So you will hear one of the experts that will review your application. So it's extremely important. You will have 2 winners giving you some inputs and some energy from their side. But I think what is extremely important is, of course, 70 cities are here today. So you may think, I will not win because I'm not ready. We know you are getting ready. You may not be ready for 2029, 28. That is the first lot of winners. But the fact that you will apply will give you tips and all ways on being on your way to win. So that's extremely important that you start from that application process. We will review your application. We will give you inputs on how do it better. And then for 2028, we will have 3 winners, but then things move on. Those awards have been going on for over 10 years. We have more than 20 winners, cities, and you may be one of the ones. So now the key dates for this year's application process. First, you have a deadline for submission. That is very strict and very sharp. It's 1st of April, and it's not even a joke. It's 1st of April at the end of the day. So just before midnight. Then there is the evaluation of the expert that will take place during all the months of May and June. 7 experts will review that. 7 experts reviewing your applications. We will be announcing the finalists in July of this year. And then jury meeting and award ceremony will take place, final date to be defined, but in autumn 2026 in Portugal. Guimarães is the green capital of this year and will be hosting us for the next award and for the announcement of the winners. We have microphones, please, if you can turn them up. Thank you very much. Short review of what is the evaluation process. You have actually 4 important steps once you have applied. And during the time before the announcement in July, we will be working hard on the following: an eligibility check of your application, a background check of your application, a technical assessment by the expert, and then the final jury evaluation. They are reviewing before the award in October your application, and then you'll be presenting. But right now we are reviewing a little bit more in detail that evaluation process with the slide of eligibility check. That is the first step. So what is absolutely important for you to know: cities to apply, you have to be an EU member state, an EEA country, or a European third country that are associated to the LIFE program. To apply as a capital, you have to have more than 100,000 inhabitants, and for LIVE city, you have to have between 20,000 and 100,000 inhabitants. As a definition of a city, and you will have that PowerPoint, so you will have time to review that, but you have to be within a European area, including metropolitan. That very important. That includes metropolitan areas, but exclude agglomeration that combines more than one otherwise eligible cities. And your city must encompass an administrative unit governed by a city council or another form of democratically elected body. So that's a very important point to take into account. Then on step 2, you will have your application will go through what we call the background check. So actually the independent background check is made by the Secretariat and the European Commission together. And we check on legislation, governments, infringement, if there are or not legal procedure against your city. You will also check the environmental data on your city, that those data are provided by the European Environmental Agency. We also get into news and social media that goes around with about your city, and if there are any citizen complaints. Then that background check will be provided to the expert and to the jury as additional information of your application. Please take into account that all that information and that background check is a confidential document. We'll now go to step 3. That is the technical check. And I know it's a bit of a heavy slide, but we are going to go into details there. So actually, your application is formed by 11 documents. You have an introduction, you have 7 indicators to provide.
Oh, you're on mute.
You are muted. You are muted.
Sorry about that. I think I have been muted. I did not even do it myself. So very quickly, I don't know where I stop, but a technical assessment will be made by 7 experts on your application form that we are going to detail afterwards with Wouter from leading the expert group. Also, the assessment is based on environmental data from the EEA, and all of that will guide the panel of experts. The Commission decide on a short-listed list of cities. Step 4 but I'm still here. Step 4 for you, once you have sent your application, if your city has been shortlisted, we will be invited to join us, and all of you if you wish, but the shortlisted will be presenting their application and their project in front of the jury. During that presentation, you will have to present the strategy, vision, and commitment to sustainability, the communication strategy, and the action for its role as a future European Green Capital or LEAF for the year 2028. And then your proposal, of course, on concrete, extremely important, the concrete initiative and measure, so you can win that title. As jury evaluation, the jury takes into account the background research report, the city application supported by the expert technical assessment report, a 2-page government document, and a 2-page communication and action plan in case the city wins. So also for you to know, the jury deliberates after the presentation and then decide on the winner. So you still on site, deliberation takes place, and then normally the day after during the awards, that's when you will know you will be called as a winner. So 3 of your cities. So I know I've been a bit fast on that, and it's a lot of information, but as you will receive that PowerPoint, you will have all the time to review that. How to submit. So that's extremely important. 6 steps that are short, but that are required. You have to register your city on the registration portal. You have, and it's extremely, it's strong advice to read the Getting Started guide that we will send you right after this workshop. So it really gives you the step-by-step information. It's extremely important also to have a very careful read on guide notes and rules of contest. Those are the 2 main documents where all the information is gathered. Then you fill up your application form, you upload all your documents on the application portal, and then you submit before the end of the day, just before midnight on April 1st of this year. And then we'll be very glad to review all your application, as we have right now 84 participants. Are we going to have 84? No, I know you have 70 countries, 70 cities on board. So maybe 70 cities, 70 applications. Let's see how we will go this year. But how to submit? We're done. After the application submission, you will receive an email confirming that you have well submitted. Eventually a word good according to the country where you are applying from. We may need a Word document of all your application document if a translation is needed. Afterwards, a confirmation email will be sent once we have reviewed and we have accepted your application, in the sense of we are making sure all the documents are there, so we are confirming that you all set for all, and it's extremely important that accepted application will be assessed by the expert panel. And last but not least, as last slide on my part, you have to know that your city will gain the access to the official European Commission applicant logo. Once you are still applicant, then on logo issues as a finalist, all the shortlisted will receive a finalist logo that you can use within your communication and in your city. And of course, the winners will have their winner logo and use it forever. So also a branding, of course, a detailed branding toolkit for the use of those logos will be sent to you. So from my end, I think you have all the very important information, very important, very dense, but of course, we are here by email or phone from the Secretariat to help you for anything you will need. I'm now very quickly giving the floor to my colleague from the Secretariat, Wouter Schick, who is a sustainability consultant and leading the experts for all the application, for all the review of your application. Wouter, all yours.
Yes, thank you all, and welcome all again also from me. Maybe we can go straight into the details, because these are the 7 indicators you have to fill in for the application form. And I just go through them quite quickly because there is a lot of information also in the guidance note from what you can do to fill in these indicators. And I will give also some advice from how to make a good application so that the experts can really judge what you're writing and that you get the best results from your application. So if you go to the next slide, please. Not only there are these 7 indicators, but every indicator has these separate sections: the present situation, the past performance, and the future plans and references. And it's very much important that you indicate from, okay, what is the real present situation? That you have really data also to support what your present situation is on the current performance, and that you have quantitative data to support this. And there are references are allowed with links where possible, but answers should not solely refer to supporting documentation. So if you, for example, they could say we have excellent biodiversity, and you then have a link referring to that, that is not appropriate. You should explain what it is and how it is and what the data should be, for example, for the present situation or your past performance, and only then you can refer to a link or etc. But the main importance is the information should be there in the application form itself. If you go to the next slide, I will go through some of the indicators later, but also the scores per section. So the most scoring, the most points you get for your present situation, that we really can see that you're doing well and that you have a good sustainable situation in your city. A little bit less for the past performance and future plans. You don't get scores exactly for the reference. That's why I said really put most of your information already in the other sections, and just for additional explanation you can refer to that, and it helps the expert to say, oh, that is what is meant. For the leave applicants, we can imagine that not all of the data is maybe available as we might expect for the capitals. So if you cannot provide certain data, certain benchmark data, please provide as much information as you can. What is your current situation for this specific indicator? So the more you can describe what your situation is, the better it can be assessed by the experts. Then we go to the air quality indicator. I'm not going through every indicator in detail. We don't have the time for that. There is, for those who applied last year, there is one additional benchmarking data regarding the population weighted mean for particulate matter 2.5 and nitrogen oxides. So be aware of that. So we have some extra information. So it's really about a lot of data and where this, if there is any pollution situation, where that's coming from and how you improve in that, and what kind of plan or policy you have to with this, and what kind of citizen situation. We actually also changed from last year. We now have for every indicator a section, a similar section regarding citizen, civil society, and business engagement. Okay, next. The water indicator, we also have some changes from last year. So we extended some benchmarking data regarding the infrastructure leakage index. We also now added the proportion of drinking water losses. There were some confusion that some of the cities have more of one and some of more the other, but to give as much information on that so we have more and a better comparison. So we now try to have both, especially proportion of drinking water losses gives a lot of easy information, but the other one is also quite available from the Green City Accord. New is also the proportion of the sewer system that is separated, is a separated sewer system instead of a combined sewer system, having to do with climate change adaptation and how you prepare for new stormwater drainage, etc. So that's now included. So otherwise, it's pretty similar for future plans. It's also the prioritization of measures to reduce water demand in relation also to new European recommendations. So be aware of that if you have applied last year. Yep. For biodiversity is mainly the same. So please indicate not only what is green space on different land use, but also indicate for biodiversity, okay, what is the ecological quality of this, how it is evolving for different types of species, how you deal with that. So it's not just green space, also quality of green space, how you try to protect it, and also the awareness regarding nature sites, etc. These are parts of the things the experts are looking for. And next. For waste and circular economy, the expert Katja will be going in much more detail that we made some improvements on this section, not only regarding the engagement part, but also being more specific what we're trying to look for. We noted that not all of the applicants were into giving very precise on what they are doing. So we want to be more precise and more comparable in the assessment what is meant. But Katja will also go in more detail for the waste and circular economy criteria. Noise has been pretty much the same, only again the citizen and business engagement part is extended, but similar for all the will be very clear that you have a lot of data and a lot of clear what you're doing and support it, as I said, with the data and connect it with all kinds of objectives and policies. Next, please. Climate change mitigation, also mostly the same. Be very much clear that, okay, what is causing your CO2 emissions, what kind of sectors, what are you doing per sector, and how you can evolve that and connect it with businesses or your citizens. So information on awareness and engagement to reduce emission is a new section that we added, be more specific, also for the future plans. So it's not just, and also the offset of CO2 emissions is not seen as the most important. So compensation is really how you reduce things. That is the most important part. Next, please. Yeah, climate change adaptation. That is the section we adjusted a lot. And maybe it's for most of them very obvious, but we see, and I put it extra in, this indicator is not about climate change mitigation. We still see a lot of applications where we talk about CO2 in this climate change adaptation. It's not about it at all. It's about we have climate-related hazards and how you deal with them. So we have been much more clear also in the guidance note what is happening, and we added benchmarking data for specific information regarding areas with significant flood risk, regarding heat waves in the last 5 years, and regarding early warning system for climate-related hazards. And be also very clear what is a hazard, what kind of hazard you are related to, what kind of exposure, what kind of vulnerability, what climate risk impacts, what kind of risk and adaptivity, all these different kinds of terminology. It's also in all kinds of EU information and what kind of definition, but be very precise on that, because when you have a more clear it's on that, it's also easy for the expert to be assess it. And also it's good when you have talking about integral solution. So then when you have something about, for example, heat stress, it can also really help you to improve things with maybe your water system and maybe also with the environment, and also maybe related to other areas. So we have integral solutions, including nature-based solutions with cross-sectoral policies. Please note it, and it will let the experts know that you have a really more holistic approach to climate change adaptation. Stakeholder engagement is added, and also participation in EU initiatives is also part of that now. Past performance is also more precise on what kind of hazards and exposure and vulnerabilities. And note that you inform on the positive change you have in reduction to exposure and vulnerabilities. So we hope to get some better information now on the climate change adaptation, where we see it was quite often a weak part in many applications. Next, please. And then we have the good practices. You don't get points per se for good practices, but they are an example to the various indicators. So you have to one current or future flagship project of demonstrating the city's commitment to integral approaches. And for the capitals, that is a little bit more than for the leaves. And please refer to it every time when you have a indicator that you want to refer to a good practice, you can refer to that. So you don't have to explain that at the indicator, but at the indicator you can refer, hey, this is all explained also in the good practices, that is possible. But just make clear that how you relate to the specific indicators, and then the experts will take it into account and will put that into their assessment for the specific indicator. Next one. Some advice from my point of view. Please, if there is any information on infringement, is an infringement in the past or present, even if it's on a natural or regional level, please inform us about it. We will know about it, and we'll find it a shortcoming if you don't inform us about any type of infringement. It's mainly how you act on it, what you're going to do, what was the situation, what's now the situation, how you improve on it, and that's very, very important. I cannot stress this enough. Also make clear how trustworthy the data is that you provide. From where is it coming from? Is it local data, regional data, national data? So how trustworthy and how can we assess the data that you're giving? And make clear how you acted based on this data. So what you have with the data, what you do with it. Make clear what you learn from what you're doing. So you have your past performance and then indicate what you have learned from this and the steps you have made to improve yourself. Make also clear how policies are more than plans. So sometimes you just see a policy, but you really have to give information on the targets, on the process, on the budget, so we know it's not just more than a wish, but it's really something that's going to happen. So the engagement to the community is already stressed, but I want to stress it again. It's really important. And make clear what is done by the municipality itself and could be done by others. It could be a water board, it could be anything else, or national policy, what you're dealing with. So what is done by you and what is the surrounding context what you're dealing with. And make also clear how you work together with other cities and learn from others at regional level, national level, EU level. So the level of cooperation is also deemed very important. Next slide. And we also see there's a lot of confusion between terms. So there, we put this in the guidance note. There are differences between ambition, goals, objectives, measures, and actions. The more clearer you can frame what you're talking about, the more easy for the expert to know, oh, this is what actually meant. They are clear. So if you don't have a measurable milestone with an ambition, that is fine. But we have a goal without a measurable milestone, that's not so good. Next. And I really want to stress complete all sections. Anything not filled in is not being assessed or is being assessed with a very, very low mark. And we have seen it in the past. And when you have no information or the limited information, for whatever reason, please indicate why this is the case and what you're doing that is still relevant for this specific subject. Any information is better than no information. So please indicate what is happening and why it's happening like that. And if you're including something that is important for another section, please make cross-reference. So the expert is only going to read their section. If they don't know it's in another section, they won't know. So if you in the water adaptation section, you want to refer something what is related in the water section, please make this cross-reference. And also mention well-known initiative. We have seen in the past for cities that the experts are really well known for what's happening. And they know, why is the city not talking about this and this kind of project? Well, if it's not in the information, in the application form, it's not judged, although maybe they know about it. So don't expect them to judge positively when it's not written in the application note. Next. And please adhere strictly to the format. We also see people making all kinds of this formats of their own. don't do that, and you may even be disqualified for that. So please stick to the registration format and also stick to the strict word limit. Please use images. It's really helpful. We have good guidelines on images and graphs. If you use acronyms, and sometimes you really have to look up what you're meaning with all kinds of acronyms, please make it also clear. It's much more easy for the experts to do their work. And it's always good to have your document reviewed by a native English speaker so that what you want to express is really also coming across to the experts. And there are very, very good examples also on the website from previous entrances, for example, with Heilbronn last year, to look how they done it for your inspiration for a good application. Next. And finally, this is the total evaluation grid. So we have the points given for the technical assessments. So you need a minimum score for 6 to pass, and maximum of 10. So there is a lower limit to even be judged for even being considered to be a finalist. And then if you're going to be a finalist, you are going to be asked for a paper for strategy and vision, and for the communication strategy. These also will be judged, and they have a different scoring, also with a minimum pass score of 6, but that's actually have never been the case that it wasn't reached for a 6. And the total will be judged together with the jury presentation as one total consideration by the jury. I think this is my part.
Thank you very much, Wouter.
Are we having questions
Yes.
now, or I'm coming in? Hello, shall I start, or there will be questions for Wouter? Can you hear me?
Odd, you are muted. Odd.
Sorry, yeah. Question for Wouter? I heard that there could be any questions for the moment. We can go back to questions and answer right after Katia. Katia, you're here, right? Katia is one of the experts who will review your application. So leaving you the floor, I have
Okay, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure for me and an honor to be here. And it is an opportunity to give the applicant city some ideas on how we read their applications. Well, this is the main points, the section of the application on the indicator 4, which is waste and circular economy, has. The main advice here is read very, very, very carefully both the application and the explanations of each section and sector in question and part, and also read the guidance notes very carefully. The idea here, as I suppose in every indicator, but in waste management and circular economy, there is a huge legal and policy body from the European Union. There are specific targets, quite demanding for many cities. There is a large dividend between some countries that most of the cities have already reached this indicator, some others not, some other countries not, but still this is an excellence award, so this is against what the city will be judged. So on the tough part, an application on waste and management and circular economy can only be as good as the waste management system of the city, of the initiatives of what the city is actually doing. But still, there are many ways of presenting the activities, the situation, the action that could earn or lose points. And here comes the idea: give the data that are required, understand the question. So have experts in each field writing the application, reading, that they are accustomed to the national and and European requirements about waste management and circular economy. There are specific targets about recycling, about targets that are to be applied. Some are already there. They're already applying for 2000 for this year, for the previous years. Some should be reached in 2030. Some of them are very demanding, like less than 10% landfilling. However, even if this is not reached by the city or the region where the city belongs, because especially for the leaf cities, but even for the capitals, their waste management system is not totally independent. It depends on what the region has. It depends on what the general infrastructure and the policy and the advancement of the country the city belongs is. But still, I think what we expect to find is the understanding of the targets that should be reached, where the city is compared to these targets, and what is doing, I mean, what it has done in the past, as the targets did not arise this year, and what has been done, therefore, and what will be done in the future. What are the specific, as Wouter said, from aspirations to specific actions that have set a plan to get us there in 2030 or even beyond. It is okay if somebody cannot reach something in time. It is better to be honest about it and demonstrate the pathway. What is to be avoided is a demonstration that one is not really aware on where we should all be in a few years' time, that is not aware of the targets, that is not aware of the policies as well, because, for example, the economic instruments is an instrument. There are not specific targets to implement the instruments legally binding, but there is a strong tendency. It has been proven that various economic instruments from pay-as-you-throw systems, and this year in the guidance note, there is a very good explanation on the different systems of pay-as-you-throw, typical, advanced, but also in more traditional and simple financial instruments like landfill tax or incineration tax. Is it there? I mean, this is not something the city is having the initiative. It's the country that's having the initiative. But still, the city has to clearly demonstrate if it applies, and even in cases that is not implemented, provide an understanding of these instruments and what is doing to have economic instruments that would help to whatever level is available to the city. The same applies to the past performance and future plans. The idea is be as specific as possible. Sometimes when data do not exist, giving a generic view is not the ideal procedure. The ideal procedure is to demonstrate that you know where you should be and show your path and what your plans, actions, whatever is to get there. I think, to my opinion and to my previous experience from applications, what gets the least number of points is an indication that the city does not understand what these requirements are, that where we should be. Next slide, please. Well, here I have just copied the application specifications. This is just from the application, or at least on the present situation. Similar sections are in the past situation and in the present situation. So read this carefully, because there are very, very specific things they demand. Like, describe the current waste collection system, detailing waste streams covered, collected separately, specifying coverage for each stream, percentage of population covered. These are very specific numbers that the experts are expecting to find there. If these numbers are not available to the city, I mean, the city that puts in an application, it would be nice if at least, especially for the capitals, if a large part of these numbers is available. If some of the numbers are not available, they might be available on a regional scale. Then it is okay to report them on a regional scale and maybe demonstrate how the city stands compared to this regional scale. In a different areas where the city can do more is the green public procurement. Now, in the guidance, there are good explanations about the green public procurement criterion. Since this is located in this section of the application, it has a focus on how the GPP criteria help promote circular economy, promote recycled materials, circular initiatives, reuse, and within the overall idea of GPP, that since public authorities are a big buyer, they do influence local and even national markets. So the emphasis is on circular economy, material flows that may be assisted by green public procurement, but of course everything else counts. And it counts in many areas and it can affect different parts of the application. So yeah, whatever is there, it should be mentioned. It is an important part of the application. And it would be nice to see both if there are policies in place and if these policies are actually implemented. So some examples are always nice. Circular economy, this is a wide range where the city can actually do more and does not depend so much on the overall infrastructure, large-scale, expensive infrastructure that depends often on the countries. So are there initiatives in the city advancing repair, reuse, and sharing economy? Or is there assistance to accelerate circular business models? These are important. And it becomes more important for the waste streams of the priority waste streams like textiles, electrical and electronic equipment, construction products, but also furniture, whatever can be repaired, reused. There are community centers where people can have repair workshops. So all these are things that the cities can do. So it is more in their responsibility. And also that part of the application can provide ideas of the cities to advance forward, to advance their models. So it is a crucial area where cities can promote waste management and circular economy. And about citizens, civil society and business engagement is a new section, and it indicates the importance that is given to this interaction between businesses, civil societies and citizens at the local context, which is the one which is closer to the citizen. Again, for embracing business models from waste collection to everything regarding circular economy. Well, the infringement is quite simple, so it's not the point I would like to say. So next one, please. Well, my main advice is go to the website below where the applications of the previous winners can be found, and have a scan through them, download them, have a look at them. They are good examples. These are the cities that have won in the past, especially the most recent years. See how their application is, what they have done, how they have presented it. Because one thing is what you do, and this is there, you cannot do much to change it in the time of the application, although you could set up targets for a next effort, because many cities have applied multiple times before they win. The other important things from which you can influence at this point is how you write the application. and seeing how other cities have written their applications is very, very useful. In this section, in the waste management section, as well as in some other sections like water and a few others, you start with a table. This is a section that numbers do count. These are going to demonstrate the main image of your city. Be careful with the numbers. Basically, the first is how much waste you generate per capita. Depends on many things. It is assessed in a generic term, so it is mainly an indicator. But what is important is the next three numbers, which these three numbers should add to 100, which is what you recycle, everything recycling, from dry recycling, packaging, everything, composting, anaerobic digestion that produces digestate, to what is incinerated and what is landfilled. And there are targets for that. I mean, the European legislation has specific targets for all these three. So your numbers are going to be judged against the targets, but they're also going to be assessed against the achievements of the country, because there are no data sets with country data at the European level, not sufficiently detailed, but there are, of course, for country, on the country scale. So looking where your city locates in states within the general achievements of your countries, it is something that is being is taken into consideration. Then this, what is your recycling material and what you do in specific waste streams. From my past experience as an evaluator, many cities get these numbers wrong, and then you cannot understand what they're actually doing. And if you cannot understand from the text, and this obviously does not earn you points. So the numbers exist, give them as nicely and as clearly as you can, and in a rational way. What you recycle, what you incinerate, and what you landfill, all of them should add to 100. If for some reason you're measuring something differently, please explain in detail in the text. Next one, please. I forgot to say, and the next speaker will obviously recognize the tables. This is public material from the application of Hailborn, which was the last winning city. This is also from the city of Hailborn. Is an indicator of give numbers very, very specifically. It's a simple table, but it demonstrates that the city knows its numbers, the numbers are there, and they understand what they're being asked, and they give a very good thought of their waste management system. The same exists in terms of tabling things in the representation of the past situation, while the future is a bit different. But in the I will speak a bit about the future later. Next one, please. So I decided to take a couple of examples from the last two cities. These two were from Hailborn, and these are from Guimarães, which was the previous city. Guimarães had an application that did not exceed the number of words, but presented a lot of extra information in terms of graphs, like infographics, actually. This is an excellent way to present your case. It gives the experts and the evaluators and the commission, everybody, a very good idea of and quite detailed of what you're doing in your city without spending too many words, and in a graphical manner that makes everything very clear, and this obviously earns impressions and points. Also use photographs, but use them in a meaningful and inspiring way. For example, this is one photo from Guimarães, because there's also a limit in the number of tables and images and figures that you can use. This is one figure. However, because it's carefully assembled, it gives a persuading image at the first glance on what the city is actually doing and that it is doing it. I can see the bins, I can see there is source separation for home composting, home composting source separation, how they recycle. You can see this, that they have fountains for water, and you would say how this connects to waste. Of course it does, because if I offer people the ability to drink fresh water without having a plastic bottle, that helps. So there are connections in the circular economy thing. So be smart also in the way you're presenting. Know your situation, know your numbers, know well what you're actually doing, and then put some effort and some expertise in. Obviously, this is a professional work. It is preparing infographics of that type is probably not something I could do, but it is something that is done by anyone who's preparing infographics, provided you give them the numbers. So these are some good examples from the recent cases. To go on and see the recent cases in the past 3-5 years and see what suits you best, not only in this section, but every other section. Now, about the future, next one, please, which is the questions and answer question, but I will add here something about the future section. In the future section, please keep in mind what Wouter has also said. Be aware of the specific, what is an ambition, what is an action, what is a policy. And sometimes, because obviously the cities know what the targets are, what you see is generic plans saying that we are going to reach 10%. We have plans to reach 10%, less than 10% landfilling by 2030. Of course, this is what everybody should do. This is a European legislation. However, if that comes from a city that in 2000, for data and from 2025 data, they have 60% landfill, it is not enough saying that we have a policy and we have an action plan. It has to be specific actions to be persuasive. If you are to reduce your landfilling from 60% to less than 10% in 5 years, well, it is difficult. And if you manage, it has to have very specific steps. So be careful in these things. Writing very generic targets for the future is not earning too many points. Of course, try to balance between your actual targets, which cannot be different in your plans and policies. They cannot be different from the EU legislation, but do acknowledge the gap and the difficulties and the specific actions that will get you there, even if that might take a little bit more time. But we're looking at specific amounts of money that have been allocated, and they are there, and specific infrastructure that is going to be built. So whatever will actually get you there, it's not just a report of ideas that we're going to reach these targets in 5 years because these are the targets. You have to you have to be able to persuade somebody that this can be done, or if it cannot be done with this time span, it will be done shortly after with specific steps. I think that's all from me.
Many thanks, Katja. I think it was absolutely great to have all your inputs, all your details. As a reminder for the participant, Katja is one of the 7 experts that will review your application form. Now, we still have plenty of interesting things to come up. As the 2 winners city for 2027, one capital, one leaf. We also have some brief information to give you from the Secretariat Damiano Ravera, and then some conclusion words. So that is, as this said, it is your time also with us. So we'd like to have, let's say, 3 questions if we have 3. If it's something extremely on details, then we will get back to you by emails on another forum. But today, 3 very short questions. So sorry about that. We have still 45 minutes to go. Extremely happy to be with you. So, Wouter, do you want to take the questions? If we
There are
have
2 in the chat. There are 2 questions in the chat already. The last 2. And one for Katja, maybe for or for Wouter, about the figures and charts.
Okay.
I think it's also referring to the figures and charts for Heilbronn and Guimarães, I think. If you want to also look for information like their application, it's also on the website, but in the general information, I'm not exactly sure what the question is about for this, the data behind it. I'm not quite sure. And the other question regarding the definition of a city, or do you maybe know
I'm not reading the question, sorry, I'm not seeing it.
Okay, no, that's the question regarding the definition
some...
of a city. Will you explain that including a metropolitan area means that a city, that if a city has a metropolitan area over 10 municipalities, those need to be included in the whole calculation? Oh, that's for you, Katja. So when we have a metropolitan area with 10 municipalities, it's about the municipality.
Well, I think it's mainly for you. I think it is a difficulty that many cities, that many municipalities have. But I mean, we have discussed that before. I mean, if a municipality makes an application, because the application will be made at the level of municipality, but the overall infrastructure, waste management, and the actual management of the waste is done by the region or the metropolitan area, then inevitably, I mean, it depends on if the system is such that you know your different numbers for recycling, for example. I mean, the overall numbers for incineration and landfill would probably cover the whole metropolitan area. But what you're doing about, what are your numbers about recycling might be more specific about your city. The idea is provide numbers at the closest level to the applicant that is possible, but often compared to the main numbers of waste management, these are at the metropolitan city area level, or even at a regional level. And in this case, say that these are the numbers achieved by the ex-metropolitan area or the regional area where our city belongs, and then provide your differentiation and what you're doing more in terms of waste collection, which is usually the responsibility of the municipalities, and the circular economy activities, like if you promote workshops, if you help people learn how to repair, if you make so the kind of action, but especially waste collection. And waste collection, of course, depends on what is the infrastructure that will receive the waste, but also has a larger area for cities to improve their management. You can see, I mean, I come from Athens, Greece. It is a metropolitan area. Waste management is done at the overall level of metropolitan area, but different municipalities have quite a lot of variation on what they collect, how much they manage to recycle, if they imply pay-as-you-throw system. So I think you provide numbers at the level you can. And regarding the numbers I showed, if the question was referring to that, yes, they are publicly available numbers, and they are at the website. They are just tables and graphs from previous successful applicants, and they are in the website of the European Green Capital and Green Leaf Awards. I had the website, the exact website where you can download the exemplary applications, if that was the question.
Thank you very much, Katja. On question, I'm afraid we're going to have to move on, especially if there are very precise questions on numbered on all that. Please email us on those dots, and we'll answer to you, of course, as soon as possible. Now, leaving the floor to a winner, Highburn European Green Capital 2027 with Luisa. Welcome, Luisa, who's going to give us key elements for winning bid and jury pitch. So Guimarães is the 2026 winner, and Highburn will take the lead for next year. So all yours, Luisa. Thank you for being here. We can't hear you, or you cannot. Luisa?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, great,
Okay,
thank you.
Perfect. So, hello everyone, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a great honor to be here today as the European Green Capital 2027. We are very happy that we participated in this competition. I can say that there is so much more behind it than just a title. The whole process is really valuable, and the format brought us fun and excitement to a topic that is slowly moving into the background in some cities. So I can encourage everyone to participate as well. Before I will share some practical insights on how to develop a strong application, I'd like to give you some facts about Heilbronn. It is located in southwestern Germany near Stuttgart, and we have over 133,000 inhabitants. You can move to the next slide. And then, yeah, thanks. So like many German cities, we are transforming from an industrial city into a hub for education and knowledge. And soon will also be a center for artificial intelligence with our innovation park for artificial intelligence EPI, which you can see on the next slide as well. In the past, we have already hosted a bigger event on the next slide that is often associated with Heilbronn, the Federal Garden Show in 2019. And as part of this event, a former brownfield site, which you can see on the left, was transformed into a modern, sustainable urban district. But this was more than just an urban development project. It activated the entire city and set many processes in motion. So we were looking for that kind of spirit again, and were inspired by other European green capitals. And we thought, let's try it, but we really underestimated what's behind all this. And switch to the next slide, please. Yeah. So we applied 2 times. In 2024, we've got to the finals, and Guimarães won. Very well deserved, by the way. And last year, we've got the title. And on the next slide, you can see some quotes from the EU reports. We often show them because to show why Heilbronn has won. And I think this also gives you an impression of what matters in a good application. So Heilbronn demonstrates an exceptional performance in all 7 areas, despite of a challenging historical and industrial background. Heilbronn has set a clear...
I see a lot of people there. Hey.
Please, your microphone, if you're not from Heilbronn, we appreciate it.
Alo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Energie electrică te-am întrebat ieri, alaltă ieri. Noi scriem că am modernizat numai la Andrieș.
Sorry, we still have some microphone on that are not from Heilbronn. So if we could, if you could turn that off, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, despite a challenging and historical industrial background, we had set a clear strategic path guided by a strong governance model. And we always say it's not about being perfect already, but about showing good solutions for other European cities, because that's what the EU is seeking, an ambassador city that deals with problems in an exemplary manner. So you can move to the next slide. Yeah, I started to prepare the application on my very first day at the city administration. So I can say writing the application was like an intensive crash course in the environmental projects of the city. And we reviewed many strategic and financial documents and searched for facts and figures, which we already saw in the last presentations. And at the same time, we've connected with many people across the city who remain key partners to this day. So this was really helpful and still for my daily work. And of course, it helps to have a common goal and a specific deadline. Next slide, please. Yes. Yeah, but despite these benefits, it must be said that it was hard work. So at first we formed working groups for the different topics for each indicator in the hope to get all the information we needed. But to be honest, you have to engage very intensively with the topics yourself, as colleagues tend to think in silos. Rather than seeing maybe the big picture. So you have to keep digging deeper and refocus and also cut back, especially in words. And another advice I can give is that you should really dig deeper in finances. If you have numbers within the city budget, you can just put them down. This is one thing we didn't really do in the first application, but we had all the numbers, but we missed it to put them down. So yeah. And one thing we overlooked also in the first application was reporting solely from the perspective of the city administration. Try to take the point of view of different stakeholders in the whole city. So what does the city offer to all stakeholders to work on environmental issues? And how does the city involve different stakeholders? And how does the city motivate and activate everyone? So this really helped us in the second application. And also don't assume if something is mentioned in one chapter, like in one indicator, that's enough. So always try to list everything and take a holistic view of the topics. Maybe one expert will not read the other indicator, but to the good practices, they will all receive them. So I will come back to that later. And another thing which was difficult for us was identifying our unique selling point. So what are good practices that your city does well and others can learn from? So you can maybe do some workshops with different stakeholders, or you can also take consulting from an external partner. That helps a lot. And also you can go into the city council and get a council resolution that helps with partners, but also with communication with the different departments to give your work more strength, I would say. And we also use that spirit to assign the Green City Accord and the Global Covenant of Mayors, but some of you maybe already did that. And you can always use an external review to check if you forgot something or if the translation is correct. Next slide. Yeah. Here are some examples from our application. So you will find them online. Also, what was already mentioned, but on our website as well. And this one, or we used in the second application many more figures than in the first one, because like already it's been said, things that need a lot of words can often be explained much better with figures. And here we collected all the the partners and the concepts and the monitoring systems and the networks from Heilbronn's ecosystem for environmental topics. And that also helped us a lot to get a better overview of everything. So that was really beneficial. On the next slide, we can see a timeline. We also use that a lot in the second application, just to get a good overview over one specific topic, like building and renovation here. And yeah. And on the next slide, there is a collage, which is also already being mentioned. So you can combine different pictures to give an overview of, for example, forthcoming nature-based redesigns. So in the first application, we just used one picture because we thought this is like the limit. But then we figured out that we can combine many pictures. And on the next slide, there's another collage about measures promoting circular economy in Heilbronn. And this is also an example for like the citizen point of view. And I think maybe here we were a little bit close to the word limit, but maybe not, I don't know. But you can also ask the secretariat if that's within the limit. So on the next few slides, you can see some of our good practices. Here, I already said that all the experts will receive them, so you can choose something that strengthens the other indicators or all of the 7. And you should choose something you are especially good at and where you can act as like a model city. And or for this example is like a hospital, and we thought, yes, our hospital is really doing great in environmental topics, and every city has hospitals, or almost every city, and then it's a really good example for other ones. And with the flagship project, we really were thinking, what could that be? Because we had like this one future project, the EPI I already mentioned. And so this was the only option for future projects, and therefore we choose this. Now to the jury presentation. I can recommend if you submit your application, then you should just start right away with the presentation, because then there is the summertime and holidays, and if you want to integrate some videos, you'll need enough time to prepare them. So we already started when we submitted the application with the jury presentation, even though we didn't know if we will be a finalist. So we focused, or at first we, go back please. At first we talked a lot about the governance, because it really were like a question on the first application, and therefore we took enough time with this. And then we focused on just 4 topics. So we didn't address like really all of the 7 indicators, but we tried to put aspects from every indicator in those 4 as well. Yeah, and we brought to the presentation different stakeholders to just bring their perspectives and their support, and also use them like as multipliers for the topic in general and for the competition. So, and this is also one thing which you can see on the next slide, the program we developed beforehand. You really should talk to different stakeholders before, because if you win, like we did, then it is really important that they're already on board and know what is going to happen and what they can contribute to the whole thing. So all the talks with the different people, they were really beneficial before winning the title and before going to the jury presentation. And also all of the pillars you see at the bottom, And on the next slide, there are our main pillars of the title year and of the planning at the moment. So you do now the work, and later it will be also be paid off. Yeah, and moreover, I can say that I can really recommend that you take the valuable feedback from the EU experts and discuss it with stakeholders. For example, you can see on the next slide, we did a workshop with our city council and the public as well, and they really appreciated it. And I think it's always, yes, something different when the feedback comes from outside than from the inside. So everyone really can work with this. And we also talked to other cities or other winning cities as well, which was beneficial. And we were also looking in their applications, but at some point we were really just like, oh, they do so many things, and are we good enough? But I would say every journey is individual and different, and I think you should just try to apply, even though you think maybe you're not perfect enough, I would say. And it also helps to get political commitment from, for example, from the state. And so I think we are already running a bit out of time, but I want to show you this video to get you a bit more motivated, because it is a lot of information and a lot of work to do, but I always get motivated when I see this video. So there's no sound, but yeah, that was the moment when it is all right. You can just.
It's my real pleasure to announce that the 2027 European Green Capital Award goes to Taiwan.
Sorry, we are missing sound for that moment. That was a wonderful moment. Actually, it's a wonderful moment for all capital city winning. Sorry, Louisa, for that. See, and let's.
Yeah. So I already put the link in the chat, and you can also contact me if you have any questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you for that very detailed. We have seen one question, but we are also running out of time. And actually, we have another great moment that is the other winner, because we don't have just one winner. We don't only have capitals. We have Leaf City, the city of Assen, with Paulo Becker, who's here. So apologies, Paulo, for that delay. Thank you for all the participants for staying. Please stay a bit longer if you can, because we still have the Leaf winner, Assen, to give us key elements, and we'd like to give you some inputs on GCA program, and we'll conclude. So we may be delayed, let's say 8 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, Paulo. Floor is yours. All yours.
Thank you, Oud, for the introduction. And thank you, Louisa, for the flashback to the award ceremony. Really nice to see. We can continue to the next slide. So my name is Paulo Bakker. I'm a European project advisor for the city of Assen. And my role in the Green Leaf process was being the end responsible that we would submit an application. So if you go on to the next slide, I will first quickly tell a little bit of introduction about Assen, because that introduction was actually the foundation for our application. So we are the capital of the province of Drenthe in the northern Netherlands. We have 70,000 inhabitants, and we are surrounded by nature. Not just surrounded by it, but it's also in our city. Nearly 60% of Assen is green space, and it awarded us the greenest city of the Netherlands in 2022. And that's actually, when we got that award, we were thinking, okay, this is awesome. We recognize ourselves in this, but isn't there more? So then we, together with local stakeholders, came up with the ambition to become the greenest city of Europe. And so we found out about the Green Leaf Awards. Next slide, please. So we already had an idea for our story, but what you see here are the finalists of the Green Leaf and Green Capital Awards of 2027. And so you see a lot of these amazing cities, and they all have their unique story. So you really need to think for yourself, okay, what is your unique selling point? If we look at us, and we don't have any large-scale projects that maybe some other finalists had, but we had a lot of small things that together formed a really well-rounded commitment to sustainability. So it's really about the technical and the storytelling. Neither is more important than the other because you need both for your application. You really do. So how we started this, we were committed, and then we analyzed former applications of Green Leaf winners, and we did research within our municipality. Okay, what kind of data do we all have? You form a project team, you make one person, at least that's how we did it. We made one person responsible for one of the indicators, and we did that for them all. And then also one person that's like a bit above it in the sense to ensure that you will have a holistic approach, because as Louisa mentioned, people may tend to work in silos. So you really need somebody to break the silos for writing the application. Use a lot of pictures, tables, graphs, other figures. I think for maybe all the indicators except one, we used the maximum amount of figures that we were allowed to use because they really add meaning to the words. And also participation is key. Collaborate with your local stakeholders. You might have some data missing that they have, or you need input from them from what they did. Collaborate with them because it's the story of you as a city and not just of the municipal organization. And for instance, as a Green Leaf, you're not expected to have all the data, but come with as much data as possible. And if you don't have local data, try and see if there's regional or national data. And don't be perfect, be honest, because in the end, it's all about cities trying to improve themselves. So if we go back to the storytelling section, so we were the greenest city, but it was not just green that we want to, reach within our city. We want Assen to be a place that's pleasant for everybody to live. So having healthy urban living and sustainability. On the next slide, please. And that healthy urban living and sustainability comes back throughout our whole application and presentation for the jury. But also to demonstrate that you have a holistic approach. What we did, we put in our application this figure that links all the policy documents of our city together to really demonstrate how we ensure as a municipality our holistic approach. Next slide, please. And also we mentioned some of the European networks and projects that we are in, for instance, the Covenant of Mayors and the Green City Accord. And that's also because we firmly believe that to reach the best results, you need European collaboration. On the next slide. Now I quickly just want to run you through some small examples that we mentioned in our indicators sections, just so that you have an idea or a feeling about, okay, what can I put there? So for instance, for number one, air quality, you have to focus on participation and on data management. So we gave the example of what we're doing in Assen. We have this project called Sniffing Bike in English. It's about students going to high school on their bicycles and cycling around the city. And we gave them, air quality monitors so that they could monitor the air quality or measure it. And then the results of those measurements were then used for our policy implementation. And on the next slide, we have also another example. We don't have our own air quality monitoring stations yet, but we will get them. But we know that residents have them in their gardens or in front of their houses or anywhere. And we use their data for the application. Next slide, please. Because and then the next indicator, water, again, really much about awareness raising, but also about data management. So you see here the Water House, it's an initiative of our Sustainability Center Assen. The Sustainability Center was our best practice that I will mention a little bit more later. It comes back in every indicator, but we mentioned examples of what we're doing on awareness raising, and on the next slide, we also showed, okay, you have the awareness raising, but what are the effects or what are the results? So how many, for instance, children do you reach per year with these awareness raising events? And also, if we talk about collaboration with local stakeholders, for instance, the leakage rate index is not part of our own city or our own municipality, but it's the responsibility of the water company to deliver the clean water in collaboration with us to the houses. So really collaborate with other stakeholders to find out about data as well. Because if you don't put in that data just because it's not our responsibility, I think that's not the best way to tackle this solution or to tackle this approach, because it's everybody's responsibility for the application. Then on the next slide, you have the green, again demonstrating, giving an image. So the green around Assen and also the green in Assen, we really put that in an image to give a feeling to the jury and to the people, to the evaluators. And also connected with, for instance, the people in your city. So not just what are you as a municipal organization doing, but what are actually the people in your city doing, perhaps with your help. Like, okay, how many volunteers do we have, and how many hours of work do they put in, and what do they accomplish in those hours? It was really inspiring as well to put all together in one document. And I think on the next slide is indicator 4. So what we do is we don't call waste, we call them resources. And we gave information about our door-to-door collection, again about what the Sustainability Center Assen does, and also about projects that we did in the past, like major green public procurement projects, which actually gave us award for the best Dutch municipality public procurement in 2020. And on the next slide, that was a bit of a tricky one. It was the noise, because as a noise, with the noise indicator, as a municipality or as a green leaf municipality, you are not, I think, for this year as well, restricted to deliver all the data, but you want to give as much information as possible. So that's where we used a lot of national and regional data as well. But also we have this huge event in Assen. It's a MotoGP event, TT Assen. And every year it has around like 45,000 visitors. And you need to also give examples of okay, then what are you doing with this in terms of noise management, and how are you, because the event is not going away, but how are you managing to make the event more sustainable? So that's information that we put in here as well. And also a holistic approach, mobility, for instance, that's cars, they pollute and they give noise. So you can mention them in several indicators, but also in, for instance, if you as a green leaf applicant don't know if you have any projects on noise management, think of mobility projects in the past and what did you do with them? Okay, maybe you opened a road or you lowered speed limits, and what were the effects on noise management, and try and find maybe regional or national data that supports actually the outcomes of these projects. And on the next slide, climate mitigation, where also mobility could be part of. But we have focused it mainly on energy transition. And we mentioned the energy desks in our neighborhood that do awareness raising. They give information to inhabitants. You can get subsidy for insulating your house. And we also did an appliance swap exchange program. But also what we did with the energy desks, we used them to inform the residents about, or inform the inhabitants about upcoming municipal projects, such as the upcoming district heating network in Assen. And on the next slide, again, showing how you should link it with data as well. Okay, nice that you are doing this exchange or this swap program, but how many appliances did you replace, and what are the amounts of CO2 saved by this? Really, if you put an initiative, try and also, if possible, show the effects of the initiative. And on the next slide, you see that we also did this with some other things, such as with, okay, we want district heating in Assen. How many houses do we want to connect in the upcoming years? And what is our goal to reduce in emissions? And on the next slide, the last one is about climate adaptation. The thing with this indicator was that, yeah, it comes back in, for instance, indicator water or an indicator of green and biodiversity. But also really make sure that you give attention to it in this section. For instance, on how do you manage to to prevent flooding, or how do you want to combat heat stress. And again, think of your red line. So our red line was healthy urban living. So one project that we mentioned in this section was our main urban square, or the central square. We added a lot of green to it because it flooded, and you want to provide, for instance, cool places for people in your town to sit. So those places need to be comfortable, otherwise they won't sit there. So you really think, okay, let's include the residents or the inhabitants in deciding, for instance, the type of benches or the height of the benches. And on the next slide, you will see some underground crates that we've put there. They collect the water, and we use that water to then, to water the green on top of it. The picture is, I think, 2 years ago now. I think if you would come to Assen around summertime now, you would see that the green is even more, and that it has really become the living room of our city center. And then on the next slide, we had our flagship project. Just to quickly mention, this is a neighborhood that we are developing, and it is really linked to the new European Bauhaus values. And on the next slide, we have our best practice, the Sustainability Center Assen. So it's a center in Assen where we do a lot of awareness raising, educational programs, and information on sustainability in general, and also to sustainability on the 7 indicators for the Green Leaf and Green City application. So what we did is we mentioned the Sustainability Center in every indicator, but didn't really explain what it is, just what they are doing, and then said, if you want to know more about it, go to the best practice section. I think that's it for now, and we are really happy to welcome you all in 2027 in Assen. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much, Paulo. We are so very, very glad to have had those testimonies of both 2027 winners city, Heilbronn and Assen. Very extremely quickly again, we had foreseen question and answer. If there is something we can quickly answer on. In the guidance notes, there is various information given on source. That's okay. So basically, I think I'm not seeing. We have some hands raised. What do we have here? Jaime Ponga del Pozo.
Yes. Good morning. Thank you so much for the floor. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Extremely quickly, Jaime, because we really have 1 minute.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, yes. Just one question for the speakers. How long did it take to them to fulfill all the application from the day you started the self-assessment to the day that you delivered the application?
Jaime, may we know where you are? Are you Leaf City? Or would you be
capital city?
A capital. So, but I'm seeing Paulo he's giving answer.
Yeah, well, we did it for the Leaf, but we started the whole process of seeing what's there, doing research. It took us about a year, but the actual writing, we did that in 2 months. I don't know, for Louisa it might be different.
Louisa?
Yes, we had like 4 months, but we were, it was not just me, we were a team as well. But I really would say you should take more time, because we really did a lot of overtime for this. And yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bios. Obviously, you don't have 4 months by now to apply, but we are sure you can join forces and have more people joining in to write, knowing that we look forward to receive your application. Wouter.
So just to mention, it's quite common for sometimes for cities to start with this process, and it's not that you first time winner, but it's starting to get your data together, your things together, your team together, and then maybe the second time you win. So the first time can also be the dry run for doing that, and but also you can also take this as the starting point for applying next year if you want to, but if you want to be more thorough. But I know for Heilbronn, they just started it. They said they never expected to be a finalist last year. They became a finalist last year and this year a winner, so they did it quite quickly, but it's a learning curve.
Thank you very much. So time now to, from Secretariat again, Damiano Ravena, who will give us some inputs on the Green City Accord. So Damiano is with us, working with you all the time, winners and non-winners. And so to answer your question, Damiano, I'm not seeing you. Are you around?
I'm here.
As long as you have a voice, it's already a very good start. Go on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I know we're running a bit late, but I'm just going to take 2-3 minutes to introduce you to the Green City Accord initiative, since we're coming to the conclusion of this workshop. So since 2024, actually, this important environmental initiative of the environment has been managed by the same consortium that is implementing the European Green Capital and the European Green Leaf Awards. So this reflects a clear intention to create very strong synergy between these two initiatives and to build a consistent and coherent framework to support you cities in your sustainability journey. The Green City Accord is a growing movement of 125 European cities that are committed to safeguarding the environment. These signatory cities range from 20,000 inhabitants to even 3 million inhabitants. They represent 21 EU member states, but not only, because since 2025, this initiative has also expanded, and cities from the EEA, EFTA countries, as well as from candidate and potential candidate countries, are now also eligible to join. When signing the Green City Accord, city leaders commit to take actions to make their cities greener, cleaner, and healthier. And of course, the Accord supports the delivery of the European Green Deal and the achievement of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Next slide, please. So very concretely, when signing the accord, your cities commit to set target for 2030 and report on your progress in 5 key environmental areas, which you can see in the slides, that are air quality, water quality, biodiversity, circular economy, and noise. Signatories follow a structured reporting framework and are asked to submit data on these 5 areas every 2 to 3 years, and to ensure a sort of measurable progress. Next slide, please. So there are many reasons to join the Green City Accords. In the context of this workshop, of course, one key point deserves special attention is the fact that being a Green City Accord signatory significantly strengthens your application to become European Green Capital or European Green Leaf. Because it is regarded as a clear asset by the expert panel. So we strongly encourage you to sign the accord if you plan to submit an application. But beyond that, joining the accord also gives you Europe-wide visibility. It places you within a community of frontrunners in urban sustainability. It enhances your credibility with your local community, give you access to funding opportunities, peer learning opportunities. For instance, now we are organizing the first cohort of study visits for the signatories. And of course, the Secretariat is always there to provide you with tailored guidance, support, and ensure your participation in networking events. Next slide, please. So that was a very quick presentation of the Green City Accord. We warmly invite you to reach out to the Green City Accord Secretariat for any questions you might have. Thank you very much for your attention, and back to you, Odd.
Thank you very much, Damiano. Now to finish right on time, back to DG Environment and with Bettina, our project manager for the awards, giving the closing remarks.
Yes, so I hope by now you have understood that it's actually a good thing to join. For the ones who are very new here, join the Green City Accord. It will give you already a very good starting point. It's a set of 15 data, so 5 areas, and we ask you 3 sets of data per area. It's a good starting point. And then I just want to point out that our community, you get friends there. It's not just about cities and administrations. It's about people, and you can reach out to those people, and you can reach out to us, the Secretariat. And here with me, you have a direct access to the European Commission. If you have any other kind of other questions, maybe I don't know the answer, but I know maybe who can help with the answer somewhere in the 30,000 people that are sitting in the European Commission. So I think, yeah, I don't want to take more of your time. You are most welcome to send us an email on the website. You can also join a newsletter that is every 3 months with a lot of information, also on calls and public funding for cities. And again, thank you for having been here. And if you don't have any further questions right now, I would say we are right spot on time with our workshop.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes, thank you very much. Still 60 of you around. Thank you very much to all participants for being here. We are looking very much forward, and I'm seeing some head saying that, yes, we'll be there. We're looking forward to receiving your application on April 1st before the end of the day. If you can do it earlier, even better. So it makes our life in Secretariat a little bit better. But anyway, our life is not the point. The point is to be greener, to have you getting greener, to have your citizens being happier. So we look forward to that. Thank you to all our speakers, DG Environment, the whole Secretariat, of course, the winners, the experts, Katia on board, and
yes, thanks for the
we let you
speakers.
go.
Absolutely.
Talk to you soon, and you have our email addresses in Secretariat still in the chat. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Isabelle.